It's good to take a break. So, we'll start up again, but that's all right. You can always edit these things. It really doesn't.
They're going now.
They're going? Okay, great.
Use a commercial for this.
It's commercial break?
Yeah.
So you had mentioned going to places like New Brunswick, because that was sort of the big city. What about Trenton, New York, or Philadelphia? Did you go to those places on a train, and how did you get there if you went to those places?
My parents would take me to New York occasionally to visit their relatives. That's the only reason.
They were still in like the Lower East Side or somewhere in the city?
No, by this time they had mostly gotten into Brooklyn.
Okay.
And one of my uncles had a place up in New York State, up around Poughkeepsie.
Okay.
And he lived to be 103.
Wow.
One of my father's brothers.
Wow.
But the others were all in Brooklyn. Went to Brooklyn from New York.
So it's a little less crowded there and a little nicer, I suppose.
Well, my father's brothers were all entrepreneurs. They all had fruit and vegetable stores or a grocery store. I had Uncle Frank, Uncle Tony, Uncle Mike. I had 3 uncles that I could think of. Maybe there were 4, I don't know. But they all had fruit and vegetable stores.
So they had their own businesses.
Yeah, they had their own business.
So that helps.
They'd get up early in the morning, go to the market, put the stuff on display and get rid of it.
Sell their wares. Now, did your family have a car? And when did they get one?
I have an older brother,
Mm-hmm.
had an older brother. And I remember he bought the first Model A Ford, I think it was 1932.
And of course it was black, right?
Yeah, it was black, yeah. And he was very good to us. He would, then we started riding to church. We used to walk to church. But when he got that car, we would all go pile it in, go to church on Sunday with the car. And once in a while, he'd take us, maybe to Kingston or somewhere for a little
Sunday drive.
Yeah. And he would really help my mother a lot too, for shopping and things like that. That was the first vehicle we owned. We owned.
What was your first car and what kind was
Oh, don't talk about my first car. My first car was a Model A Ford Coupe for $25.
$25. It ran, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, it ran, but I only had it for maybe a year. And then I got a nice Chevrolet Coupe with spare tires on the side. Each
Oh yeah, I've seen those. You had running boards on it?
Or the running boards, and there was like a well on each side of the fender, and there has a spare tire on each side of the fender. And across the back, it had a luggage rack where you could pull it down, put your luggage on.
Yeah, I've seen
it. Was
those.
a nice Chevy, but I run that for quite a while.
What year do you think that was? The model of the car, approximately.
That Chevy?
Yeah.
I would have to say it was either a 32 or a 34.
So it was in early 30s. Yeah, that sounds right with the styling
Yeah.
I hadn't mentioned. That's great about the cars. Well, I mean, Monmouth Junction's known because of the railroad. Did the railroad play a central part in your life? And
Well, the biggest part that the railroad played in my life was I had a Plymouth when I went in service. And I had it in the garage for about a year or so, and then I thought, well, I don't know what this is going to be worth when I get back, so I sold it. But that was the biggest mistake I made, because when I got out of service, there were no cars. You couldn't go and buy a car.
oh, right, because
The companies are all making tanks and guns and
they
things.
switched over, they retooled.
So, I got to tell you a little story in order to get to this railroad station. I was discharged from the service on December the 27th. I got married on December the 28th. And I came out and lived in Monmouth Junction with my wife and her mother. And they lived 1 block from the train station. And always, there was no cars those days. You want to get to work, you got to ride a train. So I rode the train for a couple of years till I finally got a car. And unfortunately today there's no station there, there's no
Right.
train stop, there's no nothing. But those days, Monmouth Junction had a train station, Plainsboro had a train station,
Okay.
Deans had a train station, Adams had a train station. The train used to stop for it all the way.
Was there a trolley line around here?
Yes.
Yeah.
I went to New Brunswick on the trolley with my mother once. I may have ridden it twice, but I remember once particularly. You know where well, I don't know, you don't live in this area, but there's high tension wires run through Dayton, high tension towers.
Yeah.
And those high tension towers is where the trolley tracks was. It came from Trenton, went to New Brunswick to Newark. And that trolley, it came through Dayton. From Dayton, we went into Davison's Mills and into Milltown. And then from Milltown, the tracks go into New Brunswick. Go in through North Brunswick and in New Brunswick. And I remember riding that a couple of times.
Yeah, I heard about the trolley line. So what would be the difference between the train and the trolley, other than the size of the train, the frequency, how often it came through?
Well, the train was not only the frequency, but the location.
Okay.
You take people in Monmouth Junction, they're not going to go to Dayton to get the trolley, see? And the train station in Monmouth Junction was a very interesting station. Did you ever get a picture of that, Seal?
I just got just bought a postcard. I know you had those wonderful photographs.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I've been trying to make a copy of that for you. And I'll eventually get to. Excuse me a minute.
Sure.
Those are the photographs I told you about.
Yeah, you think we should pause for a minute?
Want some water, comment?